Welcome back to the MCP cast. I'm Travis MCP. I know it's been a minute. And if you're watching the videos of this, whether it be on Spotify or on YouTube, as I moved to a YouTube channel now for this, you might notice that I don't look the same as my previous videos because I've lost a lot of weight from the last video to this one. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about um, a recent trip to Utah. It kind of changed a lot of things for me, especially going into the year 2026. Um, for the last several years, I haven't been on my main channel doing very many uploads. And I've always kind of wanted to go back, but the niche that I'm in isn't overly interesting to me. But recently I had something happen. So before the Utah trip, um, I live in Seattle and I had a leak in my roof that went through my ceiling and caused a tremendous amount of damage that was very expensive. If you know anything about having to repair um, leaks, you'll know that that's not a cheap thing. And what happened is it dug into the savings that I've kind of acquired over the last couple of years to a point where I'm feeling a little nervous about what's left there. It's not like red alert time, but it's definitely something that has me concerned. It really made me think, okay, how am I going to, put savings back to the way it should be so that I feel at least somewhat secure? Because the reality of this is like we live in a really weird timeline where everything weird is happening. I think it's the worst timeline. I've said that many times on social media. I think it's terrible. And from the economic standpoint, we're in a really crappy situation. A lot of people are losing jobs, and it's just not good. So I definitely want to be, as secure as I possibly can be in the times that we live in. So with this big debt coming out of my savings, I immediately started thinking, okay, how do I make this extra money? That is going back to YouTube and trying to do more YouTube content, which includes this podcast channel as well as my main channel. But I'm having so many problems just getting started again. Like today, I'm supposed to be recording a couple of videos for the main channel. I just haven't done it yet. And I think my recent Christmas trip to Utah really put some things in perspective. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I was pretty much the first person on YouTube to challenge real people to switch from whatever phone they are to another phone. For example, Android to iPhone. Matter of fact, the very first video I ever did was a challenge a friend of mine to go from Android to iPhone. And it's that friend who I spent a lot of time with this Christmas in Utah, which was great. It was a tremendous time. I don't get a lot of joy from things anymore in my life, but I had a lot of joy there. I really enjoyed it, not just because of my friendship with Nelson and Erica. They're incredible, and I consider them family. But Utah itself is actually really nice, which doesn't sound like anything I would ever say. I find it to be very strange to really enjoy Utah as much as I do. It's really weird. If you've never been, it's quite beautiful. Lots of mountains, some very nice people. I don't know if I align with everything that's there, but I could say that about anywhere you live. But so much of the peace that I found within me while I was there really inspired me for 2026. And while I was there, I was really thinking about a lot of things like what are the things that drive me and make me happy? So financial security does. I don't like to be driven by financial means, but I have to be in this particular moment. So I'm going to grind hard on YouTube. I've given myself like the entire year to really grind as much as I can. And I have to push myself because once my motivation kind of went away and I stopped making regular YouTube videos, it's been progressively more difficult to make a video. It's super hard for me now, and it shouldn't be. That's why I'm starting with this podcast, just to try to get the juices flowing and get going back into it because I need to start kicking out these videos. To get the savings back up. And also, I want to express my creativity. I really want to be able to do other things. I don't really like talking about mobile tech as much anymore, but I'm going to do it this year. I have to do it. It's what my channel works with, and that's how YouTube works. I would like to have other channels about other things, but again, it's weird when you get to a certain point in life, especially as you get older, what motivates you and what doesn't motivate you. For me, I don't know. That has changed so much. Challenges for the longest time were things that motivated me, but now peace and a peaceful life does. So being in Utah and having so much, feeling like I'm just surrounded by peace, really made me think that maybe it's time for a change. And this year has got to change. There's some aspects of my life that I'm just not happy with and haven't been for years. And I need to really concentrate on those things and fix those things. And then other things like, you know, having this desire to create back on YouTube again, but always stopping myself, a little bit of imposter syndrome, a little bit of weird anxiety that I didn't have when I was pushing through. I need to push through that again because the reality is I'm super blessed. but I'm blessed because of the work that I did. And I think it's really important to kind of talk about that because, while I had a lot of reflective time in Utah, what changed me coming out of it was understanding that while I am blessed, I didn't get here by luck at all. Whatever you even want to call here is. I had to work hard. And I sacrificed so much. I sacrificed having a life in a lot of ways to get things like YouTube working and to find jobs that worked for me and save money and all these other things. So while my friends are out having fun and everything, I was grinding to have what I have now, which I'm glad I did the work on the front end to save myself on the back end, and I'm happy about that. It's great, but nothing is promised. Like everything could fall apart tomorrow, as we've seen so many times in these past like couple of months, even people's lives just being destroyed by various things, whether it be the weather or economy or whatever it is. People's lives are being changed a lot of times for the worse. And I just want to shelter myself from that for as long as I'm on this planet. And then also thinking about what happiness is, I got to be honest, like for the longest time, last couple of years, I've talked about that on this podcast that I don't even know really what like happiness is anymore. And I'm just kind of existing and it kind of just is what it is. But I think I found some actual happiness on this holiday break, which was weird to me. I'd kind of given up on that and I found a happiness. I I'm still kind of processing parts of this. I just know that I've got to grind hard this year, and it's not something that's very easy for me. I am kind of struggling with it. The last 2 days, I've been meaning to shoot these videos, and I haven't even gotten around to it. I mean, there were some instances, like if you're watching the video podcast, I can show you like my camera that I'm going to use. I moved it in my room to a different position, and I broke the ring light, so now I had to order another one of those. So like that's delaying my time, but it also gives me an excuse, gives me a built-in excuse to not do something, and I don't like that. I'm feeling the motivation under the surface for me, and I'm just trying to push past that. I don't know if you've ever felt that before, but I'm trying to push past it. And it is interesting in that life gives us opportunities to hit the next level, but we have to really want it. We have to genuinely want to push past these obstacles that we sometimes put in front of ourselves. My obstacle is some voice in my head telling me, oh, you can't do it, or you shouldn't do it, or, there's something else you can do, or it's not going to do well, or something. And I've in the past pushed through that. And I loved when people challenged me, try to tell me, oh, I can't do something. Oh, really? I'm going to show you how not only I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it better than you thought I could. But now as I get older, I'm like, does that even matter anymore? Like, who am I proving what to? I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I just want to have a nice, peaceful life. And I hope that many of you listening are thinking the same thing. It's like, I don't want this BS. I don't want this BS around me. I just want to live a peaceful life. And that trip was really impactful for me, really made me want to focus on that and really understand that it's impossible to have everything that you ever want, but you don't need everything you want. As a matter of fact, I would say there's things that you could want that you shouldn't have. And if you had them, it'd be really bad. Know those former dates that you wanted to go on with that person that you thought was great and then you found out they were trash and you're just glad that they didn't get a chance to date you. Like that was great, right? You avoided that. Um, that happens all the time to me. I think I feel like there's a lot of things that I think I want, and then for whatever reason I don't get them or can't attain them, and then I see later on that oh, good, it's a good thing that didn't happen. Thank goodness for that. Thank God for that. I'm very very blessed in that way. So much of my life is in a position in a situation that I think most people would like, but there's these things that just I would trade for. There's a thing I heard years ago that said most people are 80% happy and then 20% unhappy with their life. And a lot of those people will trade the 80% happiness for the 20% they don't have and then end up in a different 80-20, which is terrible. You don't want that. You don't want to, like, I'm 80% happy here. There's this 20% thing I want to change for. Let me change this around. Oh, I'm still 20% unhappy and now in a different position of my life. Like I'm happy with the thing I wasn't. It just gets worse. So I know I'm rambling at this point, but I think kind of that's what MCP Cast is. There will be times when I talk about very specific things. I think this is why I put it on a new YouTube channel that because I can just talk about whatever. I don't really care like if it gets a lot of views or not. I just want to be able to express myself. There will be things I'm very passionate about, and it will be here where I share those things. And right now, I'm just in a weird position where I am trying to push on my YouTube channel. For those of you who've seen my YouTube channel, you know that like years ago, I used to put out a lot of content, but now I don't. I got to change that this year. I got to fill that bank account back up at least a little bit. just so I can feel more secure. And then maybe find a new creative outlet, maybe a new channel or maybe a new subject to talk about. I don't know. I really desire to have that, but I feel kind of lost in getting there. So I'm hoping that through the grace of God and just some lucky breaks, it all starts to happen this year. But I got to try. I got to push. That's the one thing I've learned in life, and maybe some of you can take this away is sometimes you'll get lucky, but if you're not pushing to begin with, if you're not trying to take yourself to another level to begin with, then it's not going to happen for you. So I just want to say thank you for coming along and listening. I know there's not very many of you, and I've kind of moved things around, but I don't care. Like I want to just people that are interested in this sort of thing and interested in me talking about things. I want you to find me here. And I am going to do more content about things that have nothing to do with tech, more about life, like I've done in the past, interview people and do things that I think are more interesting to a broader audience. Because that's, I think, where my passion lies, just talking and talking about things, giving hot takes and telling you why the fact that Catfish got canceled is the worst thing that's happened in 2025. I mean, it's one of the worst things that happened in 2025. I can think of a couple others. Um, and my love for things like that versus, you know, just talking about tech. Like, who cares? The newest smartphone. It's going to be great. Yeah, it's going to be better than last year's. Whoop de frickin' do. Anyway, this is the MCP cast where sometimes I just talk about nothing in particular, but this year I'm grinding. The TLDR is I'm grinding this year. Keep me accountable. If you're interested, you can hit the subscribe button if you're here on YouTube. And of course, if you're listening to Spotify or anything else, leave me a good review, even though you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, because half the time I don't either. And I'll see y'all in the next one.